chat on Newsday Amarillo and News Channel 10-2. I am Alan Robertson. That is not David McCoy Lovejoy. I'm getting ready to fix the name here in a couple of seconds, but Alan Robertson here nonetheless.
My name's not right either.
but still, we'll fix it. We're getting ready for it.
My name is Rhonda Lahner. Good morning, everybody.
And I don't know who I am except Chuckalicious. Here I am.
Yeah, you might be the most assured of yourself out of the three of us here, but when it comes to this first guest that we have on today, very much sure of themselves, amazing stuff that she's been able to do, as well as with this book, Garbage Bag Girl. We are joined by author Celeste Edmunds joining us today. Celeste, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm not Rod either.
See, Zoom technology, it's a whole nother type of
You
word.
know, just in case we're not sure.
Absolutely.
We're all good.
Again, cannot thank you enough for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, good morning. And so I want to dive into, you are the director, executive director of the Christmas Box International.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us a little bit about that organization.
So the Christmas Box International was formed when my co-author and our founder, Richard Paul Evans, wrote a little green book called The Christmas Box, which became, went on to be quite a phenomenon. And he and his wife made quite a bit of money and decided they wanted to give back. And at the time, Utah was one of many states being sued by the National Center for Youth Law for the mistreatment of children. And we had many states where children were dying in the foster care system. So we literally held a child welfare symposium and asked, what's the single best thing we can do for abused children? And what came out of that conversation was that we really didn't have a place where kiddos who were removed because of abuse or neglect, abandonment, trafficking, or homelessness could go until the state could make the right decision on where their next placement would be. So Christmas Box houses are emergency shelters named after the book. Kids stay with us 2 weeks to a month. And it isn't the shelter concept that's new or remarkable. It's the fact that we keep children through the age of 18, which allows a really unique opportunity that I was not fortunate to have, and that is to be with your brothers and sisters. When you've lost everything else in your life, all of your belongings, your uncles, aunts, all your cousins, extended family members, you only have your brothers and sisters that are left to bring you back to any biological meaning of anything that you have. So we keep about 1,000 siblings together every year between our three shelters. And I just can't tell you enough how critical that is.
You know, I've the Garbage Bag Girl, I'm somewhat familiar with that, especially in the foster area. You see a lot of these kids going into a place with everything they own. I mean, everything. It's in a black trash bag. That has to be humiliating in itself. Were you the Garbage Bag Girl?
Yes, that is me. The book is my memoir of being raised in the child welfare system, which is why I'm so over-the-top passionate about what we do, of course. It's more than relatable for me. The title, Garbage Bag Girl, evolved very naturally because of what you just said about moving around from place to place with your stuff in a garbage bag. But really, it has ended up being a bigger message more about the mentality that you end up taking about yourself. You know, when you're constantly moved from place to place and you're told very verbally that, oh, you're older now, you're probably never going to be adopted. It's just the constant message of not being wanted ends up really attaching with you, early on, and you have such a lack of respect for yourself. And then what happens is you end up having a lack of respect for those around you, which, of course, is a whole other big issue. So the title really is about where we're at up here for most of, in our head. Most of the time we're in child welfare.
Absolutely. I mean, an amazing story to say the least. I mean, we've seen it on a couple of different occasions, whether it be around here, whether it be beyond. This isn't just a domestic thing. This is all over the place and beyond, you know what I mean? And when it comes to your story especially, one would think, at least outside looking in, that it was definitely nice to share this story, to share accounts from the story from yourself with teaming up with someone like Richard Paul Evans. I mean, best-selling author, has been all over the place when it comes to his work. Talk a little bit about what that collaboration was like and what that process was like for you.
Yeah, it's really awesome. We have a 30-year friendship. I did start off as his personal assistant when he wrote that first book. And then when we transitioned, of course, to the nonprofit and founded that together, it was a natural evolution for me. So he had asked me early on if I would consider writing my story, and I was like, not really sure if I'm into that yet. And so he ended up writing a fictional version of my story called Finding Noel, and that book did remarkably well. And then 3 years ago, when I took on the role as executive director, he revisited it. And I said, I'll think about it. I took about a year thinking about it, and then I decided I would write it. I took 2 years to write it, which was the most difficult thing I've ever done. And then I had to reach the point of deciding, do I want to publish it? And that was just a whole other in my head moment of my kids are going to read it. My family's going to read it. I put things in the book I'd never even talked about yet. And I was like, I don't know if I can do it. And then I had 3 women approach me after a speaking event, and they were crying. They were in their early 20s. And one of them said, we were homeless. We aged out of foster care. Our voices are never heard. And we just want to thank you for sharing our story. And the impact at that moment that had on me was just an incredible moment of, okay, you're right. There's 500,000 children at any given time in the foster care system nationwide. This isn't a one-state issue. This is a global issue. And now we have more awareness to trafficking, and all the other issues that have come around that have become kind of popular, trendy topics. But the reality is these are forgotten kids. We think that they go in the foster care system and someone's taking care of them. Someone's got it handled. And the reality is we don't. The child welfare system is very overloaded, very underfunded, and we step up as a community and have to help them.